Ashley Mann. I'm Josiah's wife, and according to the credits on the music video, I'm the co-producer of One Mistake, the music video. One Mistake is kind of the rising action of the story. If you look at like the traditional, there's the exposition, introduces the characters of a story. The rising action is where the conflict is introduced. And you start to see that everything isn't like as perfect as it originally seemed. The thing as a whole is a story. I think as many stories are, I know that it's rooted in Josiah's personal experience, but it's been over a decade, really almost 20 years since the events that inspired the story took place. It's a way for Josiah to share the lessons that he learned during an important time in his young adulthood, and to convey the things that helped him get through, I think, some kind of universal experiences that he had. So one thing that when Josiah told me about his idea for this video, I was like, there's no way that's gonna look good. The whole card scene, when Josiah told me he had this idea of a house of cards and that somehow being symbolic of the relationship, and the card house being built on a shaky foundation and then falling down, I was like, that sounds really cool, but there's no way you're gonna make that happen and look good. Actually, when they filmed that scene, I had gone to go get lunch. So I wasn't there at all when they were doing that whole house of cards setup. And then when I got back, they were finishing it up and I saw through the screen and I was like, oh wow, that's gonna look very cool. And I was very impressed I was super impressed that they actually pulled it off. And so that was a lot of fun, and they definitely proved me wrong about what was possible. When we were filming, I think it was Swim Away, Christopher, who did the behind the scenes for our videos, was telling us that he was an actor on a music video, that when he showed up, they informed him that he was going to be making out with his partner for the music video. And that wasn't something they had disclosed to him previously. And so that was kind of like a surprise to him. I don't think it was really a big deal to him, but the girl that he was supposed to be acting with was like engaged and she had a problem with that. So he was kind of just talking about like what a big overstep that was on the producers end to not like disclose that when they hired the actors for the role and have some kind of, consent really, because you're like being physical with someone and that requires consent. So when we cast the actors for this video, we wanted to make sure we didn't make the same mistake. So Josiah, when he wrote the advertisement for this role, he actually wrote like homewrecker role, like actors needed for homewrecker role is what he called. That was the title of the ad. He just wanted to make sure that it was completely clear what you would be getting yourself into. And I was like, is anyone actually going to want to sign up for a role that's called like homewrecker role? But then the actress for this music video, she was like stoked. She thought that sounded like a lot of fun and that it was something she would be able to really get into. We had a great conversation with her prior to shooting, and I think it was just a really fun experience for everyone. But it was good that we made it super clear and there was no awkwardness or confusion about the nature of the video, because as a woman too, I'm like, is the actress going to be okay with how we're portraying her in this video? I think that's something that you don't want to be surprised later on to see yourself portrayed in a role that maybe you would have a problem with. So I think it's important to be clear and communicate upfront about like, this is our vision for the video. Make sure that all the people involved are okay with that. Someone asked me yesterday, how does Josiah feel about his musical project? Because it's somebody that's close to us and knows it's been something he's invested a lot of time into. And I told them, I think he's happy, but not necessarily like you would expect that success for a musician would look like lots of people listening to the song, or maybe going on tour or signing to a major label. And I don't really think those are things Josiah has in mind with his motivation for creating this album. for whatever reason, this story has been inside of Josiah for over a decade. And I am so excited to see him. It's like it represents the completion of a vision he's had for a long time. And when we were younger, Josiah didn't have the means to create this story at the level that he envisioned for it. And maybe it's his perfectionist nature or whatever reason, but he really wanted to hold off on just putting something out there. He wanted to tell the story in a way that felt true to his vision. And so I'm really excited that he's been able to do that and get the story out there, regardless of where it ends up taking him. It's like a lot of art. You just create the art and let it do what it's going to do. And maybe it does nothing, but that's just what art is. It's more about the expression than about the result of that.
It hurts.